Hey there everyone, this is WangNews episode 5, going over some weekly news. Now, if you haven't subscribed already, please do. Please click on it and get the notifications and press like so you get notified of new videos when they come out. I promise it'll be worth your time. Ubisoft had their Ubi Forward event for September, and kind of like everyone predicted, they didn't actually talk about the controversy that they had over the summer, where they let all of their executives go, and that's kind of unforgivable for me and a lot of people out there. They definitely have the time to do it. They've tried to make excuses that they don't have the time to do it, but then they keep on doing these marketing things and hope people forget, which is kind of the worst. But they do have some pretty cool looking games that are coming out, and it would be a shame not to talk about them at all, even though I don't want to, and I'd much rather buy these games used so Ubisoft does not get 1 cent of it. The first game that came out, not that I'm petty or anything, but I mean, come on, like they seriously still haven't actually addressed it. If we go over the games that they actually talked about on the Ubi Forward event here, the first game they talked about was the Prince of Persia Sands of Time remake, and that's coming out January 21st, 2021. It's entirely based on the 2003 version of Sands of Time. Obviously, the older ones are, like 2D. This game looks super not like graphically intensive. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's just the standards for me when I look back at older games and I want to see how they can be ported into the new medium. It's unfortunate for Ubisoft because the only other example to compare Prince of Persia to 1-to-1 is freaking like the Resident Evil 2 remake that looks god tier. It's kind of unfair to Prince of Persia because the Capcom remake is so good. The rewinding feature is too good not to be used anymore. When you just mess up, it's so satisfying to rewind that slowly. I hope to see that game come out and have it actually be good. Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, the game, is coming out again. This is the game that was infamously delisted by Ubisoft, and you can't actually get it currently. Just, an awesome future that Nintendo wants us to live, where you can't actually get digital goods after a certain amount of time because the world needs to be treated like a freaking Disney vault, I guess. Anyway, that's coming out this year, holiday 2020. Again, they're finally letting you buy it with all the DLC from a game that came out like 10 years ago. The game is super cool though, and if you haven't played it, you should definitely check it out. Another game that came out, or that they talked about, was Immortal Phoenix Rising. This is previously known as Gods and Monsters, which frankly I think is a better title than Immortal Phoenix Rising. You are a angel of some kind that has to fight and get the powers of the gods back because they've been stolen by robots and monsters. I'm not quite sure about the story and the plot. It's coming out December 3rd. It actually looks kind of like Breath of the Wild, which is interesting, and hey, what's wrong with Breath of the Wild, right? It's a pretty sick game. Watch Dogs Legion was shown again, and it kind of just goes over the story beat, like, don't forget, there's another game you need to give us money for. But this time, they put in a whole music video from a UK rap artist, and I think a lot of people who covered it live on YouTube got copyright striked, or, at least muted, demonetized. So awesome. Thank you, Ubisoft, for putting copyrighted music halfway through your presentation. But yeah, that game's a thing that's coming out still. Don't worry, it's not political, by the way. It's definitely not a game about Brexit or anything. This game is called Riders Republic. It looks almost like a MMO, but for sports games. Not sports, for extreme sports. So you go to tops of mountains and you can do all kinds of crazy stuff and jump off it with paragliders or snowboards or whatever. There's bikes and all kinds of stuff. It seems kind of confusing because they didn't really show any gameplay. Like, hey, here's how it looks if you do a downhill run, or you can play with your friends. That's all very conceptual. They didn't actually have a release date, but it's going to be definitely next gen. If you guys have played Steep, it kind of looks like that with a little bit of funny character. Rainbow Six Siege gets a new operator called Zero. Wow, why would you bring that up, Chris? Well, it's because it's fucking Sam Fisher. It's goddamn Sam Fisher from Splinter Cell. They won't give us a new Splinter Cell, but they just give us new characters in Siege. No, it's fine. Keep Rainbow Six Siege, keep on, keep on being that game that is continuously supported. It's fine. I don't need a new Splinter Cell game. I got booze to take away the pain. There's a new DLC pack for For Honor. I stopped playing that years ago. It's been out for almost 4 years. I think this might be the 4th year. I'm really impressed by the service that Ubisoft has actually given to this game. Way more service than it's given to its employees that were sexually assaulted, you know what I'm saying? Ubisoft. Why do you make it so hard for me to like you, Ubisoft? You do good things and then really horrible things. You don't address the horrible things. Just Dance 2021 is getting another release. They are milking Just Dance. Don't worry, you know what that means, guys. Gentlemen, I tip my fedora to you. The neckbeards in the chat, don't worry. There's going to be a whole new section of just chatting dancers that are out there banging out these songs, getting 5 stars, wearing bikinis. Let's go. Simps, prepare your fedoras. There are many beautiful dancers that we need to support with this new game. There's a new VR game for Far Cry. It's called Far Cry VR Dive in Insanity. It looks like Far Cry 3, but in VR. Also, there's something called A Game of Space, or check out this acronym, AGOS. AGOS, A Game of Space. Get it? Because it's the same thing. It's a VR space game. I don't know. That's about it. That's about as much as I could pay attention to. After that, everything else seemed kind of pointless. Ubisoft executives that have all been fired for bringing all the horrible things to this company, they are allowed to resign. But the kicker here is that they got to keep their stocks. So everything that all these people are working on in this new company and this new thing they're trying to distance themselves from the old people, they still profit off of this. So don't forget that they put in a music video for like 4 minutes in a game that they didn't really talk or have anything new to present, instead of directing the victims of sexual assault and misconduct at their company. Very cool, nice moves, good job Ubisoft. God, they really just think people are going to forget. It's insane to me. What a bunch of scumbags. Speaking of scumbags, GameStop's going to close at least 400 to 450 game stores next year. In a recent investor call, GameStop announced that it would close around 100 more stores than previously thought in March, which is around 400 to 450 stores. Originally they said it was going to be about 300, but that increased since the last investor briefing, probably mostly because of COVID. It says here in the article, GameStop saw online sales increase by 800%. Yeah, I think retail across the board has exploded online digitally, but definitely not physically, since people don't want to go out of their house and die. The company has pinned its financial recovery for online sales. They were going to try to redo the stores. They had some cool leaks on that kind of stuff, where it became more of like a place to hang out and play games and meet up with your friends. Not great when there's a giant pandemic going on, but not a bad idea. Probably something they need to do is try to make more experiences rather than just selling used games over and over. And yeah, with the advent of digital sales being so popular, the new consoles are just going to be entirely digital. The writing's kind of on the wall for GameStop if they don't change what they're doing, so they're going to have to downsize quite a bit. I think it'll still stick around for a while, but it's a lot of stores, dog. 400 to 450 stores is a lot more than most places can afford to lose. Remember that they thought that their employees earlier in the year were essential. They had those people they had to explain to the police in California, no, we can stay open. We're essential. Our company says we are. We sell learning electronics. Perhaps they are not the essential service they thought they were if they have to close all these stores. What do you guys think? Oh, someone get the burn ointment. In further scumbaggery, EA continues to infuriate us in almost an impossibly stupid way. UFC 4. I don't know if you guys still are wearing tag out shirts. It's been a while since I have followed the UFC. I don't really look into it that much. It just looks like a bunch of super ripped dudes beating the shit out of each other, which I guess has its own inherent entertainment value, but I mean, maybe not really for me. They have these games, right? I think now they're on UFC 4. It is, of course, a monopoly controlled by EA, just like they do with FIFA, just like they do with the NFL. They now have the UFC locked in, making all the other games in the same genre really worse taken away critical features that everyone loves about them, ruining college games, pretty much just being absolutely the worst in the sports sector as well as all of the other sectors they operate in. And I guess apparently it boiled over because there is this viral video that was posted on Reddit's Asshole Design subreddit, which made me laugh really hard when I saw it. But basically it just shows this thing that pops up over the screen and it just says like, hey, watch The Boys on Amazon. But it actually covers up like most of the gameplay in this reveal, and it's supposed to simulate how it would look if there was some kind of instant replay or something like that. Which, you know, you can see that on TV, but you're also paying $60 for a video game. And I think it's really funny that EA just kind of rolled that out. It wasn't part of the original game. This is a new update after the reviews come out, after the good press, after the good buzz, saying, hey, let's put some ads in this bitch. Just all of a sudden, very sneakily. People were not pleased in any way. So EA reversed it in a surprise move. Everyone was giving them such a hard time they took these ads away. Here's their robotic statement. I'm going to read it like a robot. It is abundantly clear from your feedback that integrating ads into the replay and overlay experience is not welcome. The advertisements have been disabled by the team and we apologize for any disruption from the gameplay that players may have experienced. We realize that this should have been communicated with players ahead of time and this is on us. We want to make sure our players have the best possible experience playing EA Sports UFC 4, so ad integration into the replay and overlay experience will not be reappearing in the future. Thank you for your continued feedback on EA Sports 4, UFC, kill all human, kill all human. It was a calculated attempt by EA. They knew that people were going to give them a bad time over this. They still did it. Wanted to see how much people would be pissed about it. And now they're like, oh, we won't do this in the future again. Oh, really? Oh, really? You think that? You mean it? Write it down, huh? Why are you so scared? Write it down, huh? Write it down. I do not believe them. Why? I don't know. Maybe it's because this happens like every year for the last 10 years for EA. They're always in hot water. They're always advertising stuff. They're always doing something horrible. Madden has like a 0.3 or 0.4 on Metacritic because it's literally the same game since like Madden 2012 with like slightly updated graphics and, you know, basically they're just hoping the hardware can push more frames over the years. That's about the only change. EA is the worst. We all know they're the worst. But this is really like underlining the malicious intent that they have and then their public-facing robot statements. At what point in time do we actually just call them liars? Like, at what point in time do they need to be held accountable by some kind of regulating body? Because they keep lying to their consumers, and they keep, like, trying to play this thing where they're like, maybe our little piggies won't notice. I don't know why this is a thing that exists. It's like, they could do so much better. Can you imagine if EA was loved, and they made good games, and, like, creativity thrived? And we could actually play a good Mass Effect?
Focus defenses here and here. The cat have been quiet for too long. See? No reason we can't be civilized.
Oh. Sorry to bring that up, guys. They kind of took a bummer at the end there, didn't it? There's a new Xbox that's been announced. Yes. It is a Series X, the main one that everyone knows about. And of course, a Series S, which is looking sexy as hell. Now, does Microsoft have an issue with naming conventions? Yes. Yes, they do. Someone needs to have them stop. Someone needs to tell them, please stop. Please make it so people know what the hell they're trying to get. It's almost like they're moving to a different kind of marketing tactic where it's like cell phones where you have an iPhone 10 and a iPhone 10 XLL cutie. You got the iPhone 10 extra small kawaii version or something. I don't know. it's kind of like Xbox is trying to do that, and they just haven't really established that precedent yet with the numbers. So they're kind of like, yeah, we're like Apple. We can do the Apple thing without actually being Apple. It's confusing to me as someone that tries to keep track of these things and what each piece of hardware will do. But let's go over it. Xbox Series S price, $500. When is it going to be available for pre-order? 22nd, pay piggies. When can you buy it? November 10th. How much does it cost? $500. I just said that. But they also have this payment plan, which is called Xbox All Access. So you can sit there and you're like, hey, $500, kind of hard. It's COVID time. Not a great time for $500 payments. What you can do is get it for $34.99 a month. There's no interest. It includes digital subscription to the Xbox Game Pass Ultimate, which means you could technically play it on a PC if you also had a PC. And yeah, that's for the 2 years. You got to pay that every month for 2 years. If you don't pay it, I guess maybe Bill Gates is going to show up at your house with a baseball bat, start making threats. Like, hey, I think your little sister has a nice Switch. Sure would be a shame if I had to break it in half like your kneecaps. Like, I think that might happen. So you got to make sure you pay it. I've heard he's pretty underhanded. He's got the charity as a front, guys. Come on, he's itching for combat. He's not a CEO of Microsoft anymore. But he's still in the arena. He's still ready. He's got the corporate bloodlust in his eyes. He wants to take over the world. Anyway, I was gonna make a joke about Corona, but I felt like that was not a good time. Poor Bill Gates, man. I don't know why he's the scapegoat for all this stuff. Okay, focus. Slightly cheaper if you do that monthly rate, because Xbox is literally insane. They're they're probably losing so much money on these consoles for really what they're available to push with the hardware. It's probably pretty close to breaking even, but still, anything that's a loss when you look into the electronic industry is so strange. But hey, whatever. Their goal is to try to get everyone in the country on a subscription plan. So it's like video game hardware as a service instead of games as a service. It's an interesting tactic. They also added EA Play's library to Xbox Game Pass last week for no additional cost. So if you want to play EA games, you can, which is odd. I don't know why. You're like, Xbox, why are you so pro-consumer? And they just kind of like smile at you and they're like, cause we love you, bro. And it's getting a little suspicious at this point. Like, I feel like they should be trying to destroy our lives in some way. So maybe watch out for that. The biggest news, in my opinion, for this is the Xbox Series S. So it's a cheaper version. We'll go down the bullet points here. Price, $299. Same pre-order and availability dates as the Series X. There's no disk drive. Instead of being in 4K, it's upraised to 1440p, which is technically 2K. If you have a 4K monitor, I guess you might want to go with the Series X, but if you don't, the Series S almost seems like a no-brainer because it seems pretty much to have the same technical specs. The only difference is the GPU, I think, is a little bit weaker. You can still hit 120 FPS on that thing, and it has an SSD, which is quite a bit smaller. It's a 512 gigabyte SSD, and it's all digital, so you know that thing's gonna fill up real quick if you download a bunch of games. You could probably just use it to play the Call of Duty Warzone, and then like you might be able to fit an indie game on there. So you're probably gonna have to get an external, but whatever. It's $300 cheaper. It's kind of insane. So it's kind of now on the table, as the mega console wars are raging. Hey, Sony, what are you gonna do? Well, next week they've confirmed that they're having a showcase event. It's Wednesday, September 16th, and you can probably figure out how much it costs and when you can get it. They apparently have some limited manufacturing capacities due to COVID, so maybe pre-order that sooner. I think that they're going to have much a harder time selling than Xbox just based on that. We'll see what the price point is. I think that basically what's going to happen this generation, if I had to boil it down based on the way these two are approaching it right now, the appearance is that Xbox is trying to be really consumer friendly, and they're trying to say, yeah, you can get whatever games you want. We'll try to make it so you can play games wherever you go. You can play it on your phone, you can play it on your Xbox Series X, You can play it on your Xbox Series S, which is actually surprisingly compact, and it's a little bit bigger than a Switch. Or, whatever, maybe you can play it on your new Samsung smart fridge. That's kind of their route. And it seems like Sony is saying, hey, guys, this is going to be the premier prestige way to play games. You're going to be able to play it on whatever we make and only on whatever we make, and sometimes we'll port games over to PC, but not all of them. But you know you're getting absolute bangers. And that's kind of their strategy, which seems interesting. And I'm curious to see the price point. I want to say it's going to be $500 for the PS5, just because they, can't go much lower. They probably shouldn't go much higher because I don't think people will buy it. But I think that hardware is supposed to be pretty sweet too. Thing looks like it's from the future. It looks like aliens designed that thing anyway. So yeah, alien technology is probably not inexpensive. Speaking of that, there is this super hilarious website where you can buy a 24 karat gold PS5. It's the only PS5 that actually has any kind of release details. It is a British website, truly exquisite. There are now pre-orders available for this 24 karat gold PS5. It's gold plated. It is $10,699, almost $11,000 for the... okay, so here are the prices. For the 24 karat gold PS5, it's digital one. Remember, there's no disc drive. It's £7,999. For with the disc drive, it's £8,099. Like that they have the two options. And yeah, you can also get the PS5 controller gold plated for the mere cost of £650, and the PS5 headset for only £400. So make sure you run out and buy it now, right now. If you want to get your solid gold PS5, it's just ridiculous. People are crazy, I guess. Alright, well that's it for this episode of WangNews. Again, if you guys please subscribe, click on the notification bell, press like to stay notified about the new videos. I also have my other social links in the description of this video. I'm a very funny and charming person. Come by. I stream on Twitch all the time. I like to talk to you. I like video games, and I like interacting with people that like video games. So come on by. I promise I'm friendly. I won't bite. I'll see you later. It's Chris. See you next week. Cheers.